Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 2 of Soul to Soul. This show is about the dance life, highlighting our common bonds and sharing the triumphs and the struggles in the field that we all love so much. In the comments box below, let us know where you're from. If you have any questions during the broadcast, let us know. We'll try to answer them. And thank you for being with us. Before we get into the show, I'm going to tell you that next week we have Heather Warner as a special guest. She's going to talk about gratitude and how an attitude of gratitude at this time of the year is the best attitude of them all. And I'll add to that because we made it this far. How cool is that? I'd also like to say thank you to Dance the Magic for sponsoring our program. We appreciate you, and we'll be back a little later on to tell you more about Dance the Magic. So, those of you who have been around me or my conferences for a while, my seminars, know about Dance Studio Life magazine. And it was 2 years ago, we closed the magazine because it was financially not working any longer. And one of the things that I loved about the magazine was writing a column called On My Mind, which was always at the start of the magazine. And today I'm going to share with you an On My Mind. I wrote it a little while ago. I use it when I do my empowerment seminars for studio owners and their staff, but I want to share it with you today. This is coming from my soul to your soul. It's called Making an Impact. At my seminars, I always tell attendees that it isn't the number of our students who move on as professional dancers or the awards that they've won that determine our success as teachers. Instead, it's the impact we have on the average student in our classrooms. Teachers are most effective when they recognize that all children deserve to feel special, whether or not they are the most talented. I have always believed that it's possible to instill a passion for the art of dance in every child, regardless of the level of dance achieved. Almost 40 years ago, I hate to say that it's been that long, I taught at a low-income housing project in Brockton, Massachusetts, where my family's school was located. I was about 15 when I started, and I taught there for 4 years. There were no mirrors in the studio, but when it became dark, we could see our reflections in a row of windows in the front of the room. At the time, the tuition for the school was $12 a month. Some of the kids' parents couldn't really afford it, but somehow we all dealt with it, and I managed to keep the school going. These were kids who needed dance in their lives. And somehow I figured that out when I was 15. Although I don't remember all of my students from those years, I often drive by the complex and think how lucky I was to have had the opportunity to hone my craft with those kids. I have often wondered if any of them remember their dance lessons from all those years ago. And not too long ago, I got a note from Debbie Johnson Holland. I discovered that at least one of those students did remember those lessons. You probably don't remember me, as I'm sure you taught a million little girls how to dance, but I sure remember you. It's so fitting that you have moved on to be such an inspiration in the world of dance, because as a young man, you were the inspiration to many of us low-income kids from Chatham West and Brockton. I took 3 or 4 years of tap and jazz with you back in the late 70s. Perhaps you remember that our Star Wars dance took a second place award at Terpsichore Awards one year when no one thought we were good enough. I even was picked to do a duet with Lisa Allred. I think that was her name. She has a sister, Rachel, and her mom did the books for you. All these things this person remembers 40 years later. My mom could never afford the classes and would somehow find a way to pay you right before the recitals. So some things have never changed. We didn't have a lot of money, but my mom knew how much I lived for your classes. Mrs. Allred never let me forget that I wasn't paying, but I never let that stop me from going to your class every week. I'd sneak in the class before she'd see me or go around to the poolside doors. I'm now 51 and still love to dance. As an overweight kid from the projects, I didn't have much confidence in myself, except when dancing. I know I can dance. You gave me that. I am so happy to see firsthand that you are still giving that to so many, many people. Thanks for making a difference. I share this because I want you to know that as teachers, you have an impact on all of your students, and you never know which ones will bring you joy years later. Treat them all as though they were special. If you convey the message that each of them means the world to you, what you give to them will come back to you, guaranteed. That's what's on my mind today. It's not about making them all great dancers. It's a soul thing. It's about looking into every kid's soul, discovering what they bring that's special, and being able to focus in on the fact that it's about their joy. It's about the impact that we have on them, the words that we say, the encouragement, the ability to look at a child and know that today our role isn't to make them the best dancer, because they must first have confidence and believe in themselves. Then they can become a better dancer. My role as a teacher is to have students who I can encourage to believe that they can do it. That's my job. That's my role. And then to see the passion. And I should be able to see the passion without it having to be tricks. I should be able to see the passion in a child just doing simple steps and being so proud of herself. That's passion. That's the soul. That's what this program is all about. That's what my philosophy is all about. And I'm hoping we go into this week on this Monday and we appreciate every kid, whether we see them live, whether we're working with them virtually. Let us all look and say, our role is to be mentors, leaders, and then teachers. Okay. So I am now going to bring in a special guest. She's a surprise guest. Nobody knows she was coming or is coming. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Teri Mangiaratti.
Hey, everybody.
Miss Teri, it's so nice to see you here on Soul to Soul.
Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm good. Good. It's a Monday, ready to go for the week.
It's a Monday and you're ready to go for the week. I am thinking that's a lot of energy for you today. Good for you. And maybe you tell us how come you are feeling so upbeat on this Monday morning.
Well, here's what I wanted to share with everybody today. And Ree and I spoke yesterday, and I had kind of told him what I was feeling. And he wanted me to share this with you all too. So I am lucky and fortunate enough to have a little ski condo that my family likes to escape to. We've been doing that for the past couple of years. And I was there this past week. We went up on Tuesday and we stayed. We just got home last night really late. And while I'm there, it's the weirdest thing that I feel so much better there. I focus better there and I work better there. Mm-hmm. And my husband was asking me yesterday when we were there, why? Like, I wonder why you work so much better here. And I don't know exactly why, but the shift in scenery, the change in my physical space, that I'm much more relaxed there. I light a fire. We joke because we just have to keep ordering firewood because I light a fire as soon as I wake up and I keep it going until like midnight. Something about lighting a fire, the big blankets, my favorite blankets are there, but I can sit on the couch there and work all day with so much more creativity and clarity and focus than I can at home. So it really got me thinking about shifting your physical space. And I think that's kind of why we wanted to pop me on today, to kind of inspire us to do something that's going to help our creativity and help us shake it up a little bit so that we can focus. I feel like right now you want me to, I'll just keep going. You just jump in if you want.
No, I will jump in if I have any questions. Okay. So far, so good. Thank you.
Okay, good. I just feel like right now, as studio owners, even as teachers, as parents, our brains are so full. Like there's so much going on between just living in this world right now as a normal person, let alone a working person, a parent, worrying about our students, our faculty, our own kids. There's just so much going on that if we can shift our physical space, I think that is a really good thing to try and do. So we're heading into Christmas break or the holiday break, whatever break you're taking for yourselves at the studio. We have 2 weeks off. But perhaps this is a time where you could find somewhere else to work. So that's kind of what I wanted to, as my takeaway today. As we're leading into that time, maybe I'm well aware, maybe not everybody has another real like physical space to go to like I'm so lucky to have. But in your own house, how can you shake it up a little bit? Is there somewhere else to work? Is there another space? Can you go into the playroom? Can you go into the living room? Can you can you hunker down in your bedroom for a whole day? Get yourself all set up. My kids, I have teenage boys at home. They like to call it a setup. They're like, I need a setup for the day, which means you tray out and just like lay out all the stuff they need to just sit in one spot for the whole day. Snacks, water, chargers, whatever you need, and just stay in one spot to do your work, maybe somewhere different than you normally work. If you normally do your work at the studio, maybe you do your work at home. If you normally work from home, maybe go to the studio and camp out there for a day or two. But remove the typical distractions to kind of break the routine of how you're going through your day. We're probably all like, experts in multitasking. So I'm like switching laundry, answering the phone, dealing with my kids, making something for lunch, doing a little work. And it's not really working out for me that well. We're getting by, but the real creative stuff, I need to get rid of all those distractions and be somewhere that's kind of makes me feel good. So planning a couple of days of that during the break could really help everybody out. I know it's a weird time, so you may not want to check into a hotel for a couple of days, but I've done that too and it works. Or go to a friend's house or go to a parent's house or go somewhere else, physically just move. But in your own house, can you change it up a little bit and give yourself somewhere to work that is different from the place you always kind of log on and do your work? Does that make sense?
I love it. It makes total sense. I do it in the retreat center as often as I can, move from the back to the front because for some reason the energy is different in a different place. And yes, you can think clearer when you move yourself to some place that doesn't have all the distractions. So I just have to ask you this. Tell us something that came to your mind during this brainstorming that's a great idea to share with studio owners.
Yeah, sure. Well, something that had been going, like kind of bouncing around back there for a while that I just didn't think I was going to be able to pull off We had done a video shoot maybe a month ago, maybe like 6 weeks ago now, where I took my oldest level like jazz company kids out into the city, and we shot a routine, a dance routine in all these different spots in the city. So it kind of ended up being like a dancing tour through the city that the studio is in. And while we were doing it, I just did that as a just kind of an extra event for my company kids. I didn't charge them for it. We didn't make any money off of it, but it was really great for the kids. I felt like they needed something and it worked. While we were filming it, I thought, man, it'd be really good to open this up to the whole studio and charge them for it and give this opportunity to a wider group of kids. But as time went on and on, I didn't have the time or the energy to get it all done, but I really wanted to do it. So being in the ski house, I just kind of pushed through and got that all done. So sent somebody else out to take all the pictures of all the locations we want to shoot in. Our center of our city is beautiful right now with Christmas lights. There's lights everywhere, all these light up snowmen and the trees, and the town city hall is all beautifully lit. So took them out to take all the pictures, and I just literally sat on that couch with the fire going under a blanket. Football was on all day long. I've got teenage boys, if I didn't mention that. And I just got that whole shot list done, all the choreography set, made the graphics, got it on Sign Up Genius, set the price, put out my constant contact, put it all over Facebook. And in that like one day of sitting there, it all got done. And it's happening this Friday. So, and that was just
how many kids signed up? I'm just curious.
Right now, I think there's about 40 or so. So we're past break even. So I knew my number to break even. We're past that. So we're making money. I just posted it on Saturday and it's Monday. So I know that more kids will sign up. They're not all going together because that would be way over our protocol. So there's a rolling schedule and age groups of when they're coming into the studio to learn it and then when we're going out to film it. But it's going to end up being really successful. And the biggest number of kids that are signed up are our once a week rec kids. I know we don't love that term, but there are once a weekers. Those are the kids that really signed up. Our company, older kids, they will probably sign up, but they'll do it later. They'll be last minute Nellies signing up. But those younger kids, they needed something too. That in between first grade to like sixth grade age, those are the kids that signed up. They're looking forward to something holiday, something extra. And I did not plan it weeks ahead of time. I literally posted it on Saturday and we're doing it this week. I think it's okay to throw something in last minute right now. People really can't think that far ahead anyway right now. So it's okay. If you can pull it together and you only have a few days before something's going to, just throw it out there.
So the message is spontaneity is okay.
Right now it is, as people don't want to really plan ahead because it's hard. We all know it's really hard to plan ahead right now. So they're going to go for it. They're going to wait till the last minute anyways. So you might as well put it out there last minute if you need to.
Awesome. All right. We're going to go find ourselves a fresh space to work in. Mm-hmm. Less distractions in that space. Maybe even don't take the phone with us for an hour or so. Mm-hmm. And then maybe we're going to consider being spontaneous with some profit-making concepts because people are not necessarily planning out. And we could try something, give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you're doing an event that will make profit, and you're starting it and ending it in about a week's time.
Exactly. Yep.
How cool is that? Teri, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Teri. So at this point, I want to say thank you to Dance the Magic. If you are in need of more content for your studio as we go back to virtual classes, Dance the Magic is now offering virtual classes to add a little Disney magic to your studio. Your dancers will go back to work with former Disney performer and Dance the Magic's artistic director, Jenny Lee Barr. in a positive and motivational environment as your dancers learn one of their fun and upbeat parade routines.
Hi, my name is Julie K. Stallcup, and I own Revolution Dance Center. We have been a part of Dance the Magic for years, and the reason that we love this team so much is because of the quality that they bring to their product. My dancers absolutely love stepping out on that street and performing. The staff is fantastic. I can't say enough about how amazing this team is.
And thank you to Dance the Magic and Debbie Barr. We appreciate your support as always. And we appreciate what you bring to the community and the opportunities to perform in a non-competitive environment. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you know her from the conferences, from Idea. She is the one who keeps everybody smiling. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to our program Hedy Perna.
Hi, Ree.
How are you, my friend?
I'm being soulful. This is about as soulful as I get, I'm thinking.
You look really soulful.
I am. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you, Miss Hedy. Today, I was going to have a conversation with you on the subject of what you know now. What's your first reaction to that?
My first reaction is, why do you have me on this? Because I'm so not soulful. This is your this is a soul to soul thing. Oh, by the way, okay, so I watched last week with Gio, which was great, and he started with the quote. So I feel like in following the tradition that Gio set, I have a quote on this topic.
Awesome.
I did, yes, I do. Are you ready for my quote?
I'm ready. We're all ready.
We're ready. Okay. It says, and this is based on my topic, if I knew now. Okay. If I knew, oh no, actually, it's if I knew then what I know now, I may have done things differently, but I didn't. So I will accept what I did and that I did the best that I could at the time. And that's perfectly okay. And that's by D. Kemp. And that's exactly how I feel. You always say, will you do things differently? I don't know if I would. I may have not, but I did what I did. It was the best that I could at the time. Accept and move on. And that's my quote.
I love it. I love it. So really what you're saying is no regrets?
You bet. You bet.
Okay.
You bet.
With that quote in mind, what do you know now that you would not regret you did before, or the way you did it before, but let's say related to where we're at with the pandemic? What do you know now?
I am so glad you asked me that, because the soulful person side of me has been thinking and pondering and writing, and I came with a few written thoughts on this. Would you like me to share it?
Oh, I would love it. I would love it.
Okay, I sat down and wrote myself a letter.
Can we go full screen with Miss Hedy for a second?
Are you ready? Because this was an exercise. This really made me think. Here we go.
Wow.
I
Okay.
wrote myself a letter with this quill. No, not with this quill, but I wrote myself, dear younger self. And this actually was a good exercise for me, Ree, because I am not a soulful person. For me to do this took time and made me go into a space that I'm a no-nonsense person. So like this really took, I'm going to read it. You stop me when it's too much, because I don't know, it's like that.
You go, and I'm going to actually give you the whole screen for this little segment, my friend.
This might bore your listeners, but this was a cleansing exercise for me.
I'm so excited because I know you keep telling me you're not soulful, but obviously you had to reach into your soul to write this.
It's a big, dark black hole.
Okay, all right, go for it.
Okay, here we go. Dear younger me. Wow. what is it that they say? Hindsight is 20/20, whatever that means. Or it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, or if only I knew now. Many times in my life, in your life, because I'm writing to myself, to my younger me, which was gorgeous, thin, and a lot prettier. Many times in your life, there will be big challenges and obstacles to overcome. But there may come a time when it's not just normal day-to-day challenges. There will be a time when your normal life will change, and maybe forever. It can be a major professional or personal issue, or something of pandemic proportions that you cannot control. And when that time comes, 2020, that is when it will be important for you to remember that whatever life throws at you, you have the tools, resilience, constitution, and ability to get through it, survive, and if you're really good, even thrive. It's great advice to myself. So here's my advice to you. Dear younger me, make a plan. Have your ducks in a row and save for a rainy day. Yep, your mother was right, because she always is. Try to make a plan where you'll be ready for the most unexpected situations. Whether it is a financial plan, a growth plan, an exit strategy, just make a plan. When things get rough, it'll be easier on you if you have something you can count on, such as money in the bank or a rainy day strategy. Now, knowing your joie de vivre that you will have in life, you will buck at the idea of making a plan and having and keeping a budget. It's so boring for you. After all, you always seem to land on your feet after you apply yourself and work hard. But remember, that's only when you have control of the situation. Unbelievably, in the future, you will not be able to control everything. Isn't that good advice to myself? Dear younger me, be ready to pivot and throw out that plan, the thing we just talked about. Reevaluate your plan often. There may come a time when things are going so well and you are relaxed and enjoying the spoils of your efforts. Now that's good, but don't forget that at any moment, things can change. 2020. Your health will change, the economy will change, your personal issues will change, and you need to be ready for anything. Because your life plan, whether it's professional or personal, it's just a guideline. When you begin your life's journey, you will make a 1-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year plan, because that's what they tell us to do in business. But there will come a time when you will need a plan to make it just through 7 days or 1 week, or maybe the next 30 days. There will come a time in your life when 6 months will feel like 6 years. And at that time, be ready to reassess, adapt, and spoiler alert, in keeping with your future life of being a dance educator, you gotta pivot, girl. Dear younger me, don't be paralyzed with fear. When the inevitable happens, after you have a good cry or change your underwear from pooping in your pants, and I didn't write pooping because being soulful, pooping in your pants, it would be a good time to put on a clean pair of big girl panties and take action. Do something. Throw things at the wall and see what sticks. Keep moving forward, or else you'll freeze up just like the Tin Man. Every step, idea, or plan that you take moves you forward. You don't know it yet, or if you do, I am reminding you that you have a superpower, and it is your responsibility to use your power wisely. Others will constantly be looking to you for leadership, and you have the ability within you to keep moving forward, no matter how dire the situation looks. Lead with love, compassion, and professionalism. Just like the Scarecrow. See, I think the whole life is all about the Wizard of Oz. Like I can relate almost everything to the Wizard of Oz. Just like the Scarecrow, who thought he didn't have a brain, yet he did all the thinking to come up with the solutions to save Dorothy, the whole movie. Stop worrying about the what ifs and make a plan for those what ifs. So here's some what ifs that are going to come your way. What if students don't come back year after year? Then you will think about rollover registration. What if a teacher quits mid-year? Then you will hire another. What if you decide to stop competing and worry about the impact on your studio? Then you will concentrate on performance opportunities. What if a pandemic hits and shuts you down? Well, you will budget, scale back, and reinvent yourself in the studio. You will grow up to be someone that fears failure. So you will need to put your expectations on yourself, and you put expectations on yourself that were not always realistic. So I knew I was going to grow up this way. They didn't even have to tell me. Your stick to this is a positive and a burden. The older you get, the wiser you will be in sorting these things out, because life is just a lesson. I don't know if I should keep going, Ray, because this is like, you sure I should keep going?
Finish it out.
All right. Dear younger me, you don't need to be perfect. You don't have to have the perfect fill in the blank, life, studio, marriage, or child. Just to be happy or fulfilled, both financially and professionally, you don't need these things. There's no explanation I'm giving you. Just save the time and trust me on this. Dear younger me, don't wait to, quote, get there or for the perfect time to do anything. You say, when I get married, when I buy a house, when I have a baby, when I buy a building, when I have X amount of students, when I win blah, blah, blah award. Note to self, it'll never be the perfect time for anything. If you say, when I get there, that's when I'll blah, 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 what you're doing is putting off enjoying your everyday accomplishments. You don't need to get there to enjoy the here and now. Don't shortchange yourself because we really never get there. It's a waste to not enjoy and cherish every moment. Dear younger me, not everyone will like you or appreciate you. This will be very difficult for you to understand. You are a pleaser and you want to make everyone happy, but you can't. It'll crush you several times in your life. It'll seem to eat you up from the inside, but those that you want to please won't be fazed by it at all. Try to learn this sooner than later. It'll avoid lots of sleepless nights and lots of headaches and worry. Learn to accept that you can't be all things to everyone. Ultimately, it is you that you need to please. Learn about the 24-hour rule. That's tough because your instinct will be to blast everyone. Learn to listen and be patient. Again, time will be your valued teacher. You don't have to compromise your integrity or principles because it'll only cause eventual resentment. But understand that you don't always have to be everything to everyone, and you don't always have to be right. Crazy that not everyone will see things the way that you do, and not everyone will have the same enthusiasm, view, or opinion as you do. It'll be hard to accept because you try so close to be a perfect human as possible. Oh, but that's an entire other letter. That's therapy, man. You're making me think therapy here. Dear younger me, stop the guilt. Cut yourself a break and forgive yourself. Stop wasting time blaming yourself for what you can't control. As a matter of fact, just stop blaming the situation or others for anything because it is just negative and you don't need it in your life. Forgive and move forward with a positive attitude. Wait, you will learn early that it's okay to make a living, be successful, and it'll be okay to reward yourself financially. No guilt. You will learn that you work hard and play hard. You will learn to lead and delegate. No guilt for delegating. You will learn that you don't have to live and die for or in your studio. No guilt. Here we go. Last one. Dear younger me, no matter what, you will be okay. You will learn to adapt and figure it out. One day you will buy your first home and it'll appear to be an unsurmountable sum of money where you think you will be eating ramen noodles for the rest of your life, but you won't. Even financially, with your profession, you will be creative and find a way to make it work. You will work with what you have and learn to do better until better days comes. You will learn to appreciate all the things that you took for granted. Not being with, just paying attention and appreciating the ones you love at home. Spending quality time, talking, crying, laughing, having dinner at home. What a novel idea. Yes, eating at 11 p.m. while you still have your coat on because you are starved and exhausted and you're just wolfing down food. You don't even know what you're eating. That's not normal. You will learn to appreciate being home, having quiet time, no songs repeatedly, endlessly going on in your mind. Remember sitting in the backyard during the pandemic by yourself. And when was the last time you did that? Oh, never. Getting out of the studio rat race. When things settle in, remember not to go back to it. Every day is the same but different, but you can make every day special. It's different parents, but same situation. Learn to appreciate the best of life. Don't focus things that are not going 100%, and appreciate the little victories and achievements. And I gave myself a homework assignment. I don't know if you could see it. Here are your homework assignments for 2021. I have to laugh more. Don't take things so seriously. Be kinder. It's not the message as much as my delivery. I have to accept help, and I have to adjust my health and lifestyle and start to keep my appointments to, the doctors. So like I said, this was quite the exercise for somebody that doesn't have a soul.
It's so funny you should say that, because as I'm coming back, or you're coming to the end, I'm thinking that was pretty damn soulful. I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, you know what? The pandemic really caused a lot of reflection. And then this topic made me sit down and actually write it, because I remember when I was sick with COVID, I remember laying in bed and saying, and this was March 16th that I got sick. I'm laying in bed saying, it's funny, like I didn't think about like the fact that we were supposed to be going back in 2 weeks, or we were still planning the show. I was thinking I will never go back to the studio in the same manner, because things took a different perspective when you're sick.
So you are a person who got COVID right away, huh, Miss Hedy?
Yep, March 16th.
How did that change your perspective?
It really did change everything. At that time, look, I was so sick and so weak that I kept saying to myself, I can't be a leader. Like my faculty, like we literally closed on the 14th and the 16th, I got sick. And my faculty, like this is before we were even ready to Zoom. Like we had no warning or anything, because we were supposed to be coming back in 2 weeks. My faculty and staff were looking to me to be a leader. And I'm laying in bed going like this. I can't even pick up my hand. I'm going, whatever. Like I couldn't even pick up my hand. So I felt very much a failure that I wasn't able to lead my faculty and staff. As I got better, I realized that I don't ever want to go back to that rat race, like having it all consuming. It was hard though, because like I did feel guilty. I really did feel guilty. But now my self tells me I have to forgive the guilt. Like I'm just gonna move forward. I really did the best that I can. Even last week was really tough, Rhea. I think I told you this. It was tough last week because like we've been the cheerleaders. We've been the everything's going to be okay to our parents, our students, our faculty. And it's starting to like get a little bit hard to say, yes, the vaccine's coming. Yes, things are different. And I know it'll never be the same, but there's sometimes that you feel like, oh, I'm the cheerleader. I need a little cheer in myself. So I had a breakdown for sure last week. Meltdown. Thank you, honey.
I want to say that, first of all, thank you, honey, Patrick, in the background.
Patrick Regis.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Merry
Hanukkah,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas.
The universal day, yes.
It was not a meltdown. It was like no different day.
No, but I want to say that you hit, and I hope everybody listening gets this. On every town hall I did last week, in all of the sessions I did with teachers, last week was one of the most difficult weeks of the year. I think as the holidays are coming and the routine of how long we've been going at this, and you hit the nail on the head, always having to be the leader and upbeat. I do believe our dance field in the last week or two has felt the pressure. And one of the things that I've learned is it's okay to feel bad for a day or two. I used to fight that. And I used to try to encourage people to come out of that feeling. I think when you're a mentor, leader, teacher, and you're trying to be up all the time, that we do have to let go, not in front of those people, but on our own and by ourselves, and realize that we are humans and we're going to feel the same emotions that those people that we're trying to keep up are feeling. What do you think of what I just said?
Well, some good things came out of the pandemic, one of which was Liza was laid off. My daughter Liza was laid off she works directly with Broadway shows in New York City. So New York is closed down, Broadway's closed down. So she's at the studio and we have a Jack and Jill desk now. She's across from me. And last week when I had my breakdown, which was in front of her, my office manager, and one of my desk people, of course, in the privacy of the office, at the end of it, like I was saying, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's okay. And she leaned over the desk and grabbed my arms and said, Mom, it's not okay. And it's okay to say it's not okay. And that was really interesting. First of all, that my daughter's comforting me, which is like, whoa. And second of all, for me to have to admit that it's not okay. That was hard. And I fought it like for the next day. I kept saying, everything's okay. And then she kept saying, it's okay to say it's not okay. And I did. I said, it's not okay.
So why do you think us dance people, dance teachers, studio owners, that it's so hard to admit that we're not okay?
Because we're fixers. We like to be in control. Like I think most studio owners are control freaks. I'm not saying even if it's a piece of choreography, we're the creators of it. It's ours. It's anything. So I think most studio owners that I meet are control freaks. Not to maybe the extent that I am, but everybody likes to have control. We have control over our art. We have control over our business. We control our families. Like we control. People call you and they want you to you take on this and give it to a busy person to get done. Like like people count on us. So we're disappointed in ourselves if we can't,
It's disappointing ourselves sometimes because we're not super people, super women, super.
Forgive yourself. You don't have to be in charge. Which way? This way. We don't have to be in charge. Like I'm going to keep this and I'm going to post this in my office because there's a lot in there. And every once in a while, what do you say? You have to hear something 6 times for it to get in your head. I remember you said that.
In marketing, they need to hear a tagline. I think it's either 11 or 13 times before it sticks, or a logo sticks in the brain. It takes, right. I can't remember whether the number is 11 or 13. Yeah, so you'll have to read that 13 more times.
I can. I mean, when we have our idea retreat, if that ever happens again, we should sit down and write ourselves a letter. It's an exercise that really made me think. And I don't have a right to be thinking. I don't have time to be thinking.
Hedy, I know that something really cool happened this year. Didn't you become a mother-in-law?
Yes. So there's so much to be grateful for. Besides the fact that, my studio had to close down. We can all go on the negatives. I was blessed to have when March 19th, I got sick on the 16th. March 19th, I stood at the top of my stairs because Pat got sick on the 19th. So I was in the master bedroom and I delegated him to a stairwell under the stairs, like Harry Potter. I said, you gotta social distance. You gotta isolate. So Liza was up in her room and I realized that this pandemic is going to go through this house. And I remember standing at the top of the stairs, March 19th, saying to her, Liza, you have to save yourself. You have to leave the house. You have to go to Rodrigo's house and stay until I get better. So she went to her boyfriend Rodrigo's house March 19th, and that was the end of it. 6 days is like 6 months in the pandemic. I swear to God, I made this happen.
So you sent her, how long after you sent her to go live with her boyfriend did she tell you that she was ready to get married?
I sent her in March, and in August she got engaged. So March, April, May, June, July, August. 5 months later, she got engaged. October, she got married. November, they bought a house. It's wow. December. I know. I'm blessed. I love him, and he's good for her, and she's great for him. They cherish one another. And this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the pandemic. It never would have happened. She would have been like the traditional bride, but she didn't want to be a COVID bride because, they're being pushed back year after year. She said, we're going to get married, then we'll have the party later. I'm like, okay. Who, me, like I'm the choreographer. I'm going to plan this wedding with her. And I'm like, we went to the town hall. It was fabulous.
There you go. No props, no lights, no nothing.
No
Just
Chastain
love.
down that aisle.
And quiet soul to soul happening for the entire family.
You know what? That's so interesting. Do you remember the first holiday after the pandemic that you had? So for us, it was Easter. Do you
Yes.
remember that? Okay. So my house is a big house, and I am the one that's, hosts every holiday. It'll be, the minimum will be 16, the most will be maybe 26, 28 people. And it's like tables here, tables there, everything. Easter, the first holiday after the pandemic, was Pat and me, my husband, and my daughter Liza, and at that time her boyfriend Rodrigo. And I was like, Easter, I do the bunnies, everything, it's like all, and it was so weird. And I was like nervous about it. Like, what are we gonna do? I don't even know how to prepare for 4 people. Guess what? It was one of the best holidays ever. We sat, we talked, we laughed. I got to, instead of saying, hey, you, how it is when you have a lot of people, I was nervous about it, how it was going to be. It was one of the best holidays ever. I'm so grateful for that to have happened. Not the pandemic, but that forced us to have that. It never would have happened. I never, ever, my family's always here. So
for our viewers today, maybe we can look back over this year, and instead of the things that were tough being at the top of our mind, we can look back over the last year and see what we actually gained from this pandemic situation. The ability to hang out with people, the ability to have a dinner at home with your family, the ability to show everybody how important dance is to us and keep going. I feel that one of the things that the studio owners and teachers are not patting themselves on the back for during this time is the fact that they're still going. There are so many businesses and children's activities that threw up their arms. They can't figure out what to do. And yes, we may be in financial straits right now, but the example that we've set for those in our community to see us keep going, they want to support us at this point. There are a lot of good things that happened over this past year of pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I just want, when you touched on financial, I think that was probably, besides the fact of not being a good leader because I didn't know what to do and feeling that, the financial stress at the beginning was so bad. Because you're used to a certain budget, a certain way coming in, and once I let it go that I don't have control of the finances, and I did everything I could to minimize and guess what? I'm able to do it. It's not like we have extra of anything, but it's okay. I'm going to make it through. And but it was so hard. It was so hard. I was thinking we're going to eat ramen noodles. We're hell in a high bath, I thought that whole thing, you adapt. It's like your first house. You think you'll never ever be able to pay that mortgage. And guess what? Somehow you do. It's not, we're scraping by. There's no extras, but we'll adapt. But it was hard. Because you're so used to a financial way.
I agree with you. But
and my husband and I take our living, both of us, out of the studio. It's not like he has another job. So it's double the whammy.
That was a good point to make. And I was going to add that I had ramen noodles once since this pandemic happened. I didn't think they were so bad. I hadn't had them.
I know, it's a college thing. It's you don't have money, so you always have ramen noodles. And that's what I always say. I say to Liza, you bought a house, now you're going to be eating ramen noodles. Unfortunately, the young people don't do that. They just go and still spend money.
Charge it.
Different, so American, I call that, so American. I have to say, we were very lucky that we had a nest. One of the things I said to myself, my mother was right. You need to, when this pandemic is over, you need to rebuild and put money aside for that rainy day. And I'm not talking 3 months. If it's possible, like that summer fund that I always talk about for the studio, because we're only a 10-month business, which that could change now because of the pandemic. You could, like, the world is your oyster. You could, remember what I said? COVID is the reason for the season. You could change your business plan. You could change your school year. You could change anything you want and say, because of COVID, and that because we experienced COVID, we're going to go to, like, this is the time to blame COVID for anything.
It's opportunity. I agree with you 100%. This is the time to create the studio that you want.
Yeah.
And come back with this feeling of, wow, it's not someone else's way, it's my way. And how cool is that? And if COVID or this pandemic had not happened, you would not have the opportunity. So don't let this opportunity pass by. Make the changes now.
That's right. It's absolutely right. And blame COVID, because everybody understands.
Yes.
Because of COVID, because, you know, making changes, policy changes, you know, studio changes is tough, but you can say because of COVID. So
I'm with you. We got to kind of close out, Miss Hedy.
I'm glad, because my soul couldn't take any more.
No, I thought you were really soulful today, and thank you so much for sharing your soul with us, Hedy. You're more soulful than you think you are.
It's not easy. Do you remember my first massage?
I do. Wait, Arizona. I'm trying to think of the name of that hotel.
Oh, yeah. It was not the Venetian.
It was a different hotel. It was a nice hotel. And
yes, it was before the Venetian. Yeah.
You came walking in to our Project Motivate seminar, maybe 20, 25 people, and you had had your first massage.
Right. And, you know, massages are so, what's that?
How old were you before you had your first massage?
Oh, I was in my 40s, I think, with, you know, my late 30s or 40s. I didn't have a massage because it's something that I never thought of for myself, because to me, it's like an extravagance, perhaps, or maybe I was afraid because people are like, you know, kumbaya that do that. You know, so I listen, when I go to the dentist, I fight the Novocaine. I want control. My dentist is like, stop controlling it. Just go under. So that first massage took me down, man. I was crying buckets.
Yes, you were. You were crying after a massage.
I don't know why. Because I have no soul.
No, because your soul came out that day. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your soul with us. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. We'll be back next week with Heather Warner. She inspires everybody just by her presence. So I'm excited to have her. And then on the 27th, we are going to have a special show. I'm just going to call it Re and Friends. Hedy Perna, final words of wisdom.
Well, I would recommend an exercise like this for anybody that has the time. You know, we make lists for our studio. We make lists for our staff. Maybe make a list for yourself. You know, with 21, we're looking for resolutions. We're looking for answers. It's no answers, but maybe it'll be a good reference. I'm definitely going to use this.
Thank you, Miss Hedy. And everybody, this is a journey that's bumpy these last few months, but I do believe we can enjoy it if we look for the good. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week, Monday at noon.
Take care, everyone.